Welcome back to For Mature Audiences. The main focus of this show is to let you all know that the Ohio Valley is abundant in resources you may need, and the Speech and Language Arts Department at West Liberty University offers services that you all probably didn't know about.
If we could, let's just jump right in now. I know that you're involved with a lot when it comes to Alzheimer's and dementia patients, specifically through the university. So if you could please tell us about the specific program that we know about, which is your clinic supported support groups.
We cover a lot of topics in the group. So we cover dementia staging, hearing health, and how it attributes to social interaction. We cover the importance of physical activity and coping strategies for caregivers, dealing with communication breakdowns, anything that falls within our scope of practice as far as being communication sciences field. We try to cover and help caregivers or individuals living with dementia as best we can in that group.
And I know that you also have some special initiatives under that group and under the programming there at West Liberty University that deal with trying to preserve the cognitive health for individuals in their early stages for as long as possible. So if you could please tell us a little bit more about that.
Our goal is to provide a comfortable learning environment for the students and ensure positive outcomes to improve the quality of life of our patients. So a community support group fit right in with our mission. But our clinic itself is a place where you can come and receive evaluation and treatment sessions in any communication or swallowing disorder. You'd be matched with one of our WLU students, but supervised by one of us licensed and certified speech language pathologists or audiologists. And so our hearing clinic is fully functioning for comprehensive assessment and treatment of hearing disorders, including the sale of hearing aids, which we sell those at cost. So if this is something that people are looking at and saying, wow, it's not covered by my insurance or Medicare or something of the sort. Our hearing aid dispensement is a little bit cheaper than some of the other places because it is a university clinic. And then our speech clinic is, I'll just kind of talk specifically what we do for patients with cognitive decline. So we utilize evidence-based standardized assessments that actually are sensitive to detecting mild cognitive impairment, which could give people more time to incorporate lifestyle changes that preserve cognitive health, incorporate strategies, and maybe just prepare for the future. So we're really passionate about helping the adults in the community that are experiencing some cognitive changes, even if it's just something like, man, I'm misplacing items more often than usual, or I'm forgetting things, or, conversations are kind of getting shortchanged with me because I feel like I'm not coming up with the words. It might not be dementia or Alzheimer's, but it's always good to know. So we can kind of be a first step in doing one of those standardized assessments. And then we don't diagnose dementia or Alzheimer's. We only diagnose communication disorders. So we would send you to a place that has the full diagnostic workup if there were concerns based off of the standardized assessments that we provide.
And if you could please, Sarah, tell us a little bit about what fueled your passion for getting involved and really trying to help these folks. Because, of course, we know that you deal with communication disorders and speech pathology, but how do those two worlds kind of collide, if you will, when it comes to helping individuals with a dementia diagnosis?
So I have been a speech language pathologist for over 20 years, giving away my age there, but most of the population that I've worked with has been in inpatient rehab, skilled nursing facilities, long-term care, some outpatient. So I've worked with adults most of my career. And just as the years have gone by, I've just noticed more and more that caregivers are trying to keep their loved ones at home as long as possible if there is cognitive decline. And then when they come to our facilities, I notice that sometimes there's just a lot of information that maybe the caregiver or the person with mild cognitive impairment at the time could have had that they didn't have. And so I was really passionate about being better at giving dementia health communication and Actually, my PhD research was housed within that area. So I actually interviewed 12 participants in the Ohio Valley that are currently caring for a parent with dementia. And I basically just asked them questions about, like, how do you get your information? What is missing from the searches that you do? Do you even like to go to support groups? What does support look like for you? And we know there's lots of organizations out there, Alzheimer's Association, Positive Approach to Care, Dementia Society of America. I know I'm only naming a few, but sometimes it can be a little overwhelming. And so my question to them was, how can we make it less overwhelming and more functional for you? So that is kind of where I'm at today after working with patients all this time and trying to be the best interventionist as I could be while supporting caregivers. And then I landed this job at West Liberty University. And so it has really allowed me to really expand my knowledge and then use the resources that we have within the university to be an arm of support wherever I can. So that is my origin story.
And that's fantastic because you also have recognized, and we all know this now based on the facts and figures that have been released by the Alzheimer's Association for 2024, but we have nearly 7 million Americans who are living with a dementia diagnosis. And that does not account for the numbers of people who live in rural communities that don't have adequate access to healthcare, especially here in Appalachia. We know that there are a lot of people who either don't seek out medical treatment or don't have access to it. So, in my mind, and my fear is that we have so many people, of course, we know 300,000 within our region are diagnosed, but so many more are undiagnosed because of those reasons I just mentioned. So, I think that it's fantastic that you have really taken the reins there and taken your passion and your background in language speech pathology and kind of intermeshed the two of them to do what you're doing. And so, aside from what you're doing there at West Liberty University with the support groups and everything, you also are a community educator for the Alzheimer's Association, and you also host a support group off of the Hill as well to make things a little bit more accessible for folks who may be maybe apprehensive about traveling up to West Liberty.
Our support group actually only meets off the Hill. That's why we specifically
Oh, good.
we specifically chose that location because we know sometimes geographically coming to the Hill isn't always conducive, especially for people where time is a commodity, and maybe leaving their loved one to come and get that hour of support that drive time might be essential to what they can get out of that hour of support. So yeah, we meet at the First Christian Church Disciples of Christ on National Road. The pastor and his wife there, Alicia and Kenny Hardway, have allowed us to use that space for free. So it's just been super for us because it's very centrally located in the city of Wheeling, and the space is really like it's kind of like home. It's got a bunch of couches. It's not like sitting in a little classroom. We get to really kind of share with each other, whether it's just a social support need. Hey, I'm going through this and I just really need somebody to tell me, how you got through this, or maybe I just need you to listen to me so I feel validated. Or we do have some participants that arrive that actually are going through some brain change. And so we try to get the students involved in engaging them and some of the different activities that we do. And it really does end up being a very rewarding hour. And it's not necessarily just for people that are going through brain change or caregivers of. It can be for people that are looking to preserve their own cognitive health, because we do talk about a lot of strategies in that group. It can be for friends of people that are caregivers, because maybe the caregiver can't leave the home themselves, and so maybe they just kind of bring that information back to their friends. Again, we have students coming, so sometimes their parents come when the students present. So we do have a lot of fun there. We are the first entity in West Virginia to own this innovative technology system for specifically evidence-based for people who are going through cognitive change. And it is called the TOVR TOEFL. I don't know if you've ever heard of it. It's actually the Dutch word for magic table. And so it was created in the Netherlands by Dr. Hester Lareach. I hope I'm saying that right. who actually set out to study if light projections onto a surface where someone's drink would be located would possibly stimulate that person to reach for the drink and take a drink, because we know as cognitive decline progresses, sometimes that initiation is not there. And so the researcher was trying to figure out ways to get a spontaneous reaction to, oh, I need to take a drink to improve hydration. But what really happened was the it was more of an awakening of engagement that she noticed. So the individuals in the study who were already living with cognitive decline that accompanies dementia began to actually purposefully play with the light projection. And so Hester collaborated with a design team to create this Tovertoffel system. And so it projects these interactive lights games, kind of like, remember the Xbox Connect, where your hands would kind of make the movements happen, with all these vibrant colors onto any surface. So you can put it on the floor, you can put it on a table, and then the sensors within the system will pick up hand movements and gestures. And so the large scale studies that have scientifically been conducted indicate that the Tovertoffel magic table affects social emotional behaviors, increases physical activity, and contributes to a lot of engagement and social interaction. So it's evidence-based for populations with cognitive disorders to make a difference in those areas. And so thanks to grant funding by Milan Pusker Foundation, our clinic now has this innovative technology. And so we're really excited to get started with it and maybe even expand our services to more outside of mild cognitive impairment and looking toward even some moderate stage dementia.
Dr. Alig, tell us how, if someone is interested in learning more about the many services that you provide, how do they get in contact with you and take advantage of what you are doing there with West Liberty? And then additionally, let us know also when you host your support groups as well.
Our clinic website is part of the West Liberty University website. So it's kind of a derivative. So it's under Communication Sciences and Disorders. And then there's a link for Speech and Hearing Clinic. But the phone number is area code 304-336-8199. And so our administrative assistant fields all of the questions that have to do with our services, support group, evaluation treatment, and she can schedule you if you want to just come in and get an assessment, or if you have any questions and she can't answer, she gets that information to us and then we reach out to you. You can also email me, sarah.alig@westliberty.edu, if you have specific questions that you want to ask me. And then our support group meets the fourth Wednesday of every month at 4 p.m. at the First Christian Church Disciples of Christ on National Road. And we do not change that. The only time sometimes we don't meet is during Christmas, because that fourth Wednesday sometimes lands on or near Christmas. And so everybody kind of wants to be with family that month. But every other month, all of the 11 months, we meet at the same time, same place, just to make sure that it's routine and consistent for anybody that's new to it or, would like to be there.
Excellent. Well, and I also think that what you did with the planning of the support groups is something that is really memorable also. It's the fourth Wednesday at 4 o'clock. So I think that makes it easy for folks to remember. Dr. Alig, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you. I appreciate you having me, and I look forward to hearing from everyone.
For more information about the services they provide, either call the Speech and Hearing Clinic at West Liberty University at 304-336-8199 or visit westliberty.edu. And if you would like to attend one of Dr. Alig's dementia support groups, remember they take place on the fourth Wednesday of each month at 4 p.m. at the First Christian Church Disciples of Christ, located at 1343 National Road in Wheeling, near the Altenheim Community and Welty.
And up next on For Mature Audiences, there's a new program at the Howard Long Wellness Center in Wheeling that's good for the brain and the body. And we're going to find out all about it in our Aging Awesomely segment, so stay tuned.